Good afternoon, Israel. My name is Yashapa Yasharala. I am wife of Qanath Yahawashi, elder of F.O.P.E, and I'm here to interview man of valor, Brother Dawid Israel, from the Kingdom of YAH, from Dimona, Israel. Good afternoon, brother.
Shalom, shalom. Good afternoon.
I just have some questions about what you're doing. What is the Ascension Summit?
Well, actually, the Ascension Summit is the proclamation of the two sticks coming together as one stick. We're working together to do that, okay? And so the 400 years, and I want to read this. This is very important, okay? The Unity Summit marks the 2019 year of return. In other words, 2019 marks the end of the prophetic 400-year captivity pronounced upon the seed of Abraham. As we noted last year when initiating plans for this conference, if observance of the passing of the 400 years on the shores of North America is to have any meaningful relevance for us, it must be accompanied by sober-minded, serious dialogue and strategic planning. Otherwise, it will pass without the development and the implementation of any tangible plan, or even be hijacked and steered towards the most implausible and absurd of possibilities, wherein we will be found celebrating our 400-year captivity and not its end.
Well, why the Ascension Summit?
Is there anyone on there yet?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. So the Ascension Summit, the purpose of the Ascension Summit is so that we can, I want to start over.
Go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start over. You're going to start over. Okay? Do you mind? And I
Oh,
appreciate it.
we're live.
Well, we live, so you got to stop it and restart it then.
No, this is fine. This is fine. We'll edit it on YouTube. Just go ahead. We're live on Facebook.
So I'll just start again.
All right.
With the introduction.
Because I want to do something, and I never do this, and I apologize. I have to give all honors and praise to the Creator of heaven, the earth, the seas, and all that therein is. So, Kodam Kol, Kol Hakavod, Le Yah HaKodesh Israel. Hallelujah. Ve'abdo Hanavshi Benami Ha Mashayach Lakol Nasakav Sadabatarab Lakol Chasadav Elo Shekel Green Bay Elo Shekel Kim Animi Brek O Kimbe Shalom Shalom. Hallelujah. And I greet you in perfect peace. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Now let's continue.
Okay. We left off, I believe, as why the Ascension Summit?
The Ascension Summit is so important, as I stated before, because of the 400 years. And if we do not return back and we look at this 400 years and we celebrate this 400-year captivity instead of celebrating the 400 years return of our people back to the land and redemption, that will cause a problem for our people. In other words, we do not want to return back to and celebrate the 400 years of captivity and then another year of captivity versus the 400-year deliverance of our people from the captivity back into the Edenic lands and then back into the lands of Israel, as stated in Exodus 20. Okay? And so the Hebrew Summit is designed to bring us as a people back together. Israelite leaders as a people back together. Okay? And so when Moses was told in Exodus to go out and bring the people, the children of Israel, back into the land of Israel, he said, start with the leaders. And so this summit, everyone can attend, but we want the leaders of the people to come so we can get the different viewpoints of one another. So this is not a kingdom of YAH. We're trying to just figure out how to bring people home, though we've been doing it for 50 years. This is, we want everyone's input on how we're going to return back from the captivities and the diaspora back into the Edenic lands.
Okay, what are some of the topics of the summit?
Okay, great. We have very many topics for the summit, and let me explain to you how this is going to be held, okay? So the summit is going to be held like a panel discussion, all right, which is very important because the panel discussion allows for us to get each and every leader's opinion on different subjects, okay? And so the leaders can determine which subject they actually, or which panel they want to sit on to be able to share the information from their different perspectives. Also, we're going to have no debating. The rules of engagement, there's going to be no debating. So when you give your opinion of, or whatever your position of your congregation, then what's going to take place is those individuals will actually be able to we'll be able to determine and listen to what it is that you're saying without having to worry about someone attacking your position. And that's very important, because when you're worried about someone attacking your position, there's a lot of information you might not be sharing, and now all of us cannot grow together. This is about all of us growing as a unit, all of us working together, all of us being one. Okay? Bavakasha, go ahead.
Good. What are the dates of the summit?
The dates of the summit are going to be from the 25th, the 25th of the 12th month, 2019, through the beginning of the year, 1/1/2020. So it's going from 12/25/2019 to 1/1/2020. Okay? Now, the other thing that I want people to understand is we have the sacred visitation as well, which brings me back to the topics of the summit. So I want to finalize with the topics of the summit as well. The key topics that we have in the summit is day one will be know thyself, then what? A lot of the brothers and sisters know their identity, but now we have to move to a stage of redemption. What does redemption mean? What does it look like? What is that? What is the end game for our people as a whole? What is that? And what does it look like? And what does it mean? You know, and we're going to get the different perspectives from the leaders to see where we agree. All of us might agree with some areas. All of us might disagree on different areas. But what it's going to allow us to do is do what? Work together. That is key and is very important. Another powerful subject is the subject on 400 years now what? What is our way forward in agriculture? Not just because a lot of times we get caught up in what is our way forward scripturally? What is our way forward in our classes? What is our way forward in a almost a religious conversation versus a true spiritual, or what we would call a concrete, or a what's the word I'm looking for? It would be a practical expression of what our spiritual is. Meaning, y'all put us here for a reason. We had to become who we needed to become spiritually in order to create a reality on this earth. Okay? And so in doing so, the question is, what is our way forward in agriculture, in health, in economics and business, in combating an immoral world, and in repatriation? This is very important, because now, remember, we have to be what? A light to the world. And as this light to the world, what is it that we're actually affecting, or what change are we affecting in the world? Where are we going in the next 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years? What do we see in the future for real? And where are we going? What is that vision? These are the type of things we need to speak of now. Why? Because coming out of the Exoduses, many of our people are still in the captivity. We've been blessed in the kingdom of YAH, which is another subject I'm going to talk about. But we've been blessed in the kingdom of YAH to actually have been in or outside of the captivity for 50 years. So when our leader at the time, Ben-Ami, our spiritual leader, Ben-Ami, when he was leading us out of the captivity back into the promised land, there was information that he was given. Why? Because moving from the captivity, most of our people are looking to return back to the Exodus. But the Exodus was one of the biggest failures on the face of the planet. 630,000 came out, and 630,000 minus 2 died in that wilderness experience. Women and children were able to go in, but many of the children were born in the wilderness, not the ones that came out of captivity. So that was one of the biggest failures. So there was a place that he found that we had to go to. We had to go back to the Genesis. We had to go back to understanding actually our purpose on this planet and what it is we were going to be doing in the future after the Exodus. So we have a discussion of what it's going to take for the Exodus, but there's a whole nother discussion that we have to have on what about after the Exodus. And we've had 50 years to actually meditate on that and create that and start working towards making that a reality. So again, that's going to be a powerful subject. What is our way forward practically? Then we're looking at what does the Exodus and our dispensation look like? What is it we should be doing? Where should we go? And what role does Africa play for us? Very important. And then after that, we got voices from African Edenic Hebraic diaspora, because not only are we going to be the ones that are in the diaspora, but the powerful point about this is outside of us being the ones in the diaspora, there are many countries. YAH said he scattered us through the four corners of the earth. Yes. Well, we have many brothers and sisters coming from the diaspora, from different areas in the diaspora, that will be at the conference as well, because there's leaders in those areas as well. And so for the first time, many of us are going to have an opportunity to meet our brothers and sisters that have been in the diaspora in different countries. So speaking, not just being there, but we have some speaking. We have a Limba. We have people coming from the Limba tribe, people coming from the Zulu tribe, the Ashanti, which I just met when I was in Ghana, which was an outstanding experience. The Igbo are coming. So this is a powerful, powerful, powerful event. It's much bigger than just one of us. It's much bigger than just one congregation or one camp or one entity. It's much bigger than this. We have to come together as a nation of people. The scripture said, y'all said, gather yourselves together. Gather together, O nation not desired. Not doctrine not desired. Not ideology not desired. Not thought process not desired. Not religion not desired. But gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. And when we gather ourselves together as a nation, then we start looking at the practicalities. Okay, I might disagree with you here, but we can work together here. If we look at all the nations and families of the earth, right? All of them will work together at one common goal, even though they don't work together. The Euro-Gentiles don't trust one another in no form or fashion. Right. They're the most warring people on the planet, but they don't trust one another. But I promise you this, they will work together to get something done. But in our case, we're blessed because all of us, one thing that's in common with all of us, we all serve YAH. That is one thing I found. I don't care what ideology, 99.9% of the people I talk to, the one thing we all do in common is serve YAH, Yahuwah, or YAH in his wholeness. We serve YAH. You understand what I'm saying? And in that oneness, in that unity, we can work on what it is we need to work on and the disagreements we have on the way I might wear fringes and you wear fringes. We can work on that. Right. But the key thing that we want to get is, where can we work in common? That's the goal. So let's say we have differences. We're hearing the different opinion. Okay, we might not be able to work here at this juncture, but we can work here. And this is an ongoing conversation that is powerful. So another subject that is powerful is the one that says the different, Messianic expectations towards a common understanding. Messianic expectations toward a common understanding. Key. So we're looking at what is the Torah and Tanakh only perspective. What is the perspective? You got what I'm saying? Because Torah and Tanakh, different Torah and Tanakh leaders might have a different perspective. But we can find a place to work together. Messianic, what is the perspective? One thing I found about Messianics that really was great to me was that many of the Messianics don't worship Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? Many of them look at Yahawashi as a prophet. You understand what I'm saying? And that is very important. Why? Because that makes a major difference to the Messianic. You understand what to the YAH only, or the Tanakh and Torah based only. So we need to get the true perspectives of one another and learn to love one another in that, and to really understand it and listen, not from a perspective of to attack, but from the perspective of truly hearing what they're saying. And now we can have a conversation and we can come to, as y'all stated, seeing eye to eye when y'all bringeth again Zion again, which is happening right before our eyes at this moment, which I'll get into in more detail as we move forward. The other thing we want to look at is the KOY perspective, because many don't understand the KOY perspective. My background, I come from the house of Israel in Cincinnati, Ohio. Torah and Tanakh based only. I didn't understand the true kingdom of YAH perspective. But when I got it, I understood that we were on the same path, the same page, going, except they had just made it a practical reality of what was taking place in the scriptures. Very important. Very important. Why? Because that allowed them to be the lifeline in the land for me when I wanted to step back into the land and get there. You know, one thing I look at, one of my teachers just passed last week. He transitioned last week. One of my teachers from the house of Israel. And my other teacher from the house of Israel, he transitioned as well. And never had an opportunity to step back into this holy land where we are today in the land of Israel. Do you realize it's been 2,000 years before this last 50 years in the 1970s? In 1970, when the kingdom of YAH was heralded, before we stepped back into that land, you have to understand the significance of that. To truly understand the significance of stepping back into your land after 2,000 years. Do you understand who you are? Do you understand who you are? To be able to do that. Not only that, to then also be able to build the everlasting kingdom of YAH as written in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. That any prophet, any righteous person would trade everything to just live in this season and have that opportunity. You have to understand the brevity, the depth of what is taking place right now on the earth, not only for us. I'm going to tell you this. It's so many of our people in that have other levels, at different levels of consciousness that are actually planning on moving as well. So when we're talking about an Exodus, this isn't just from the ones that know they're Israelites. This 400-year return has been heralded throughout the earth, giving credence to Genesis, the 15th chapter, where it talks about our 400-year captivity. Giving credence, because that's the only place that the 400-year captivity is written. So in reality, if we look at that and we really understand where we're at and what's happening, and you understand that this conference and the gathering had to take place back in Israel. There's conferences that have been tried all over the United States, but the gathering must take place again in the land of Israel. It must take place. This is such a powerful, powerful time that we are in. Do not miss the opportunity to be a part of something this great. Like I said, this is bigger than me. I am a clearing for y'all. I am a clearing. That's it. All I am is a voice. This has nothing to do with me personally. I am just a clearing to share this message at this moment. But at this moment, you must realize how important and imperative it is for you to step foot back into your land.
How can someone get more information about the summit?
The most important thing that the way that you can get information about the summit right now is to go on Facebook. Go to Facebook. Everybody that's watching this right now is on Facebook, or you're on YouTube. But when you go to Facebook, you need to go to YAH Lives, YAH LIVES. So YAH space LIVES. Go in the search bar and put YAH Lives, and then put HJWC, which stands for the Holy Jerusalem Writers Conference, because this is a part of the Holy Jerusalem Riders Conference. And it's an ascension summit because you're ascending back into your land. Everything that had happened in the past, we were on a descendant state from Adam. When Adam, he took the knowledge or ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, him and Hawa, both of them are Eve, as many know them. When they left, when they did that, from there we began to descend. This is an ascension back. And so when you look at going back into your land, the Ascension Summit, then what's happening is you're going back into the land, you're ascending back into Israel. Israel was considered going up high. When you look at even the Ashanti, I was just like stated in Ghana. I was in Kumasi land where the Ashanti lived. In Ashanti land, their books, I got one of their books, not the books that the Euro Gentiles write or anything like that. Their book. Wow. It says they are known as the sky people. Now, if you read the Apocrypha, you will always hear them talking about heaven, the God of heaven. The God, but we know Shemayim is sky, right? The word in Hebrew for sky is Shemayim. So this heaven or this sky people, that means they came from where? Israel, up high. And then they walk through how they're Israelites in their whole history. But they are known as the sky, the people that came from the sky. Wow. And this is a key point because they had the Hebraic understanding. When we get the Hebraic understanding, it takes us to understand that they came from up high. So this is an ascension summit of our people ascending out of the captivity. They call it Aliyah. Ascending out of the captivity back into our land.
That sounds awesome. Can you repeat one more time that contact information for the family if they
Absolutely. Let me make sure I get that to them.
right.
I apologize. YAH lives. YAH space LIVES. Then space HJWC space Exodus 2019. And if you don't get the whole thing, if you put in YAH lives, it'll probably show up. If that doesn't work, put in HJWC or Exodus 2019. One of them will pull it up. So it's not, that's why I like doing it that way. So you have options and it's easy to look up. If you forget something, you got it.
Great. So, I hope you receive that loud and clear so you can look that up at your earliest convenience. Why is this important?
Wow. Why is it important? As I stated before, this might be the most important event that has taken place in our lifetime. As I stated before, 2,000 years since our people have actually stepped back into the land, minus the 50 years that Ben-Ami had led our people from the captivity in 50 years. We've been in that land for 50 years. The only other people besides those brothers and sisters that have been in the land forever. Like there's brothers and sisters that have never left. As a matter of fact, when you come, included in the conference fee, which we'll talk about in a minute, included in the conference fee is a what's the word I'm looking for? Is a sacred visitation of the sons of Negev. It's a full day where you get to go meet the brothers and sisters that have never left the land. Wow. So you're going to get to meet the brothers and sisters that never left the land, stayed in the land, the whole nine during the Roman occupancy and all that. They got the documents and everything to prove it and show it. Wow. So I'm telling you, like, this is an event you don't want to miss. And so it's important to reconnect, one, with your land, two, to be able to hear the different perspectives and understand and fellowship with your brothers and sisters, and to finally meet your brothers and sisters from the diaspora, not just in America, but in the other countries, as well as to be able to take advantage of this monumental, season. So it's extremely important. It's extremely important.
How much progress have you made?
Oh, we've made outstanding progress. I'm really pleased with the progress that we've made. First, as I stated, or as I need to state rather, is that we have been working on this for a year now. Sar Madiel, he is the spokesperson, or one of the spokesperson for the Kingdom of YAH. Sar Madiel, it was his vision that came to him where he actually said the 400 years, we cannot celebrate this 400 years in the captivity. We cannot celebrate the 400 years for another year or more, or 400 more years of the captivity. We have to celebrate our deliverance. So that was key, and that came to him. And so myself and Ator Marisha, we have been working on what we call the Two Sticks Gathering, which was after Ator Marisha's father, Prince Daniel, and he was the one out doing this work. It was Prince Daniel, Sar Shalomo, as well as a brother by the name of Chief Yeshua out of Kalamazoo, and the other two out of Chicago. Okay, and so Nasik Daniel, or Prince Daniel, he was doing an outstanding mission. When he transitioned, his son took over, and I was commissioned on the job with him. And so we have been going around. And so we ended up talking with SAR and started working on this, putting this together. And as I stated, we put together a panel of leaders in New York. We put a panel together in Gary, Indiana, which was coming out of Chicago and Gary. And we got perspectives on this. As a matter of fact, people can look up the one in Gary on YouTube. That discussion is on YouTube. And then after that, we began putting this event together. And we've as you see, we've gone leaps and bounds, because this is going to be a 6-day, 7-day event. Powerful 7-day event. All the days. There's so much that we're going to be doing, so much we're going to be talking about that the brothers and sisters need to see. And so then with that, I was up in Israel and Ghana for 3 months and just got back. And so coming back from Israel and Ghana, I'm out here to share this information. That is my purpose, to come out and share the message and what we're going to be doing for the conference.
It sounds very exciting.
And so I went to it is. I went to Dallas. I've been to Houston. I've been to New York. I've been here, D.C., Baltimore, and I've had meetings. I'd probably say right now, I probably had about 30 or 40 meetings already with brothers and sisters in these areas that all want to go. At first, they're talking about, I can't do this. This is after they hear and we talk. We've had more and more people ready to go up high to Israel, and so for this event. So that's a powerful piece too. Also, what's the last thing I want to say? I'm going to be. That's what I wanted to mention. I'm also going to be going this week coming up. I'll be in Cincinnati. I'll be in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. And then I'll be going from there to Atlanta. On the 8th, I'm definitely going to be in North Carolina. December 8th, I will be in North Carolina. Anybody that needs a meeting in North Carolina, please contact me immediately, December 8th, or any of the other areas I just mentioned, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. This week, I will be there. The other thing is when we move past, when we go to the next phase, which will be, I'm going to be going from Atlanta, North Carolina, into back to Cincinnati, and then I'll be going to St. Louis, and then Chicago, and then I'm flying back to Israel. So that'll be the end of that tour. And like I said, we've had an outstanding turnout on that.
Amazing, yes. Amazing. How can brothers and sisters help that are still in this captivity?
That's very simple. The way that you could help is the same way that everybody could have helped in the past, as far as in the original Exodus. And that is by sharing this information with everyone you know. This is a time of redemption, the Exodus. And a lot of our people get stuck in the idea of an Exodus, or in the idea, of staying in the captivity. They're stuck in that idea. And so what happens is they never ever come out of the idea of the Exodus, of the captivity. See, the Exodus is an idea. It is a thought process. It is not it's not just a physical movement. People think the Exodus is just something that you get up and do tomorrow. It's not. It is a thought process. Many of our people are locked into the captivity. They will create ideas, reasons, they'll create all types of stuff to really lock themselves to being able to stay in this captivity. Yes. Why? Because just like the elephant, if I chain an elephant and I take the chain off, I never have to worry about that elephant again. Because where does the chain live? in the mind of the elephant. The majority of our people that do not want to leave the captivity, they are stuck in it's in their mind. So Exodus is an actual mindset first. It's an idea that must permeate first. Once it does that, then what happens is you can now physically move, because everything starts with a thought and then a word. That's why it says Elohim said what? Let there be light, and then there was light. So the idea had to come, then the speaking of it, and then leaving the captivity. Life is a conversation. If you listen to what somebody is saying, you can always tell what their thought patterns and processes are, because they had to have the thought first. And so where people are living, when I listen to people who talk about not leaving the captivity or coming out of the captivities, that's where the problem starts. So the first thing that you can do to help and move forward is first start speaking, thinking and speaking and hearing Exodus. Start living that. Get into the mode of Exodusing. The second thing you can do is share that information with everyone that you know. The information I told you on the YAH Lives page.
Yes.
You need to definitely share that information with everybody you know. Share it on your Facebook. Share it on your contact list. Share it through your emails. Share it through your text. Share it through YouTube. All of the different social media channels, Twitter, all of those, Instagram. You can share all of that information with people, and that would make it very easy for you to be able to help in what we're doing. Okay? So you can contact us. You can always find that information rather there. All the contact information, everything is on those pages. And the way that you're going to be able to help is by sharing.
You hear that, family? Share.
Yes, outstanding.
Will sisters be able to speak at the conference?
Absolutely. We have sisters come in to speak. And this is what's so powerful in the kingdom. Speaking for our sisters, like, in other words, if I'm at an event, for instance, I just went to the Men and Women of Valor's conference. So at the Men and Women of Valor's conference, we had men and women speaking at our conference. It's not like it's something strange. In other words, it's not like, okay, sisters can only speak on these subjects and da-da. It's not like that. Whatever the subject is, whoever's the best for that speaking engagement is who's going to speak for that speaking engagement. So yes, sisters will definitely be allowed to speak. I'm looking forward to it. I got a beloved sister in the jurisdiction she's now in the jurisdiction in Grand Rapids. Okay. And coming out of that jurisdiction, she's actually from South Africa though. And she'll be coming up as well, speaking at the conference. So that's going to be that's going to be powerful. So we got sisters coming from all different, parts of the continent, as well as sisters that'll be in Israel. And any leaders, this is key. Any leader that wants to speak, the information to be able to speak, what we need you to do is get the information on the pages that I spoke about before. And I need you to send that up on something that you want to speak about. And we're allowing leaders to also speak as well as sit on panels. Some things are panel discussion, but there will also be speeches. Like, for instance, the Shabbat day. The Shabbat day, we're going to actually allow different leaders to speak on the Shabbat day, as far as teach or whatever, however they want to do it. Because we always keep the Shabbat every Shabbat. Okay. But we just want to do something special where we can have all the leadership, teaching on the Shabbat. It's going to be powerful. This is unheard of.
Yes.
Because what did y'all say? Eyes have not seen and ears have not heard what's coming, because we have to have what? The one stick proclamation. We have to move from the 2 sticks to now the 1 stick in the hand of YAH, as stated in Ezekiel the 37th chapter.
Good. I'm sticking with the sisters and what their role is. What are the roles of the women in the kingdom of YAH?
Roles of the women in the kingdom of YAH? Yes. And this is so powerful. This is what really I remember this when I first came into the kingdom, and this is no slight to any of the camps or congregations, because there's many intelligent sisters in the camps and congregations. Yes. But I remember when I came into the kingdom, I was just really surprised at the level of intelligence of the brothers and sisters, the Israelite brothers and sisters in the kingdom, in the camps in the kingdom. I was really surprised at that, because they had I'm talking about, when I say this, I'm talking about like Winnie Mandela. She came to Israel. I'm talking about but these sisters had that same level of I'm talking about quote unquote what we call average. No sister is average. No daughter of Zion is average. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm just going to use average or a citizen of the kingdom. I was so shocked at the intellect that they had, one. And then the skill set abilities. Like I'm talking about when it comes to like duties like sewing, cleaning, sewing, cooking, and those type of things, masters. When it comes to health and taking care of the family and making sure that the family's healthy, I've never seen that. I mean, it's amazing. And then not only do these sisters handle all of that, I mean, they actually go, many of them go out, they might work a job. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then also they might be a crown sister, or a woman of valor, or a sister on the move. So now they have kingdom responsibilities as well. So such as speaking, taking care of making sure that the other women are in specific positions for whatever it takes to make the kingdom work. Because there's a lot of things that go on in the kingdom just so we can hold that land for our people. You understand what I'm saying? And these sisters, I'm telling you, are on another level. So an Atarah would be a crown sister. You're talking about a sister at the highest level of respect in the kingdom. So we have women leaders in the kingdom. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
As well as we have women in the kingdom that are servants of YAH. And the greatest in the kingdom is the servant. Whether man or woman, I don't care what your title is or what level you get to, the greatest in the kingdom is the servant. And in the kingdom, we say no matter what level you're at, if you become a crown sister or a crown brother or a sar or whatever you become in the kingdom, it doesn't matter what you become. It just means more servitude. And that's how we look at leadership in the kingdom.
That's awesome. Could you tell us, what is it like to return to the land?
That's my favorite question. It is, and this is what's so powerful about it. It is the most amazing experience. And I'm going to go into two phases on this. Phase one, I cannot give you your experience in the land. I can only give my experience, meaning every single person is going to have a different experience. For instance, when I went back to the land, I went to Tiberias. Like when I landed, first of all, I knew this was my land. That's one thing that clicks with you. Either you are or you are not. You understand what I'm saying? You will know. When you land on that land, you will know that that's your land. It won't be a question. I don't know how to explain it, but it won't be a question. You will know it.
You just feel that instinct, that connection?
You feel it. And the other thing is you have no fear. Fear disappears. It's almost like you realize you were afraid to die in captivity because you didn't want to die there. Almost. It's almost like you want to go back to your land intrinsically. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So when you land in that land and you know it, that is gone. It's like it's clarity. And then like sacred visitation. So if people want to stay an extra week for the sacred visitation, we could take you all through the land. We show you the blackness in the land, what's going on in the land and all of that. I'm telling you, when you go through sacred visitation, I went to Tiberias. When I went to Tiberias, I got to climb up on this mountain, the Mount of Beatitudes. I climbed up on that mountain. I'm letting you know I had an experience. I didn't want to leave that place. I almost didn't go with them. I almost tried to hide because I didn't want to I didn't want to leave when they were ready to go.
Right.
But I knew I had been there. I knew it. I knew it. And so getting back in your land, you must connect back with her. And like I said, once you go up, like the brothers and sisters from different congregations that you all know and that I know, once they go up once, they keep going back. Why? Why do they do that? Because you know this is your land. This is where you're supposed to be. You know it. It's going to become a habit. And that's what has to take place. So that's why I always say visit first. Go ahead.
All right. Why should people not fear returning to the land?
Well, again, The reason they shouldn't fear returning to the land is because returning to your land, in other words, let me say it this way, they should fear staying in captivity. They should be afraid of staying in Babylon.
Yes.
Why? And I'm going to give you a personal, example. I just was in Israel and Ghana, Tokyo over the last 3 months. Now notice I even threw in Tokyo, right? Mm-hmm. Why? Because there I didn't have to worry about being killed, murdered, robbed, any of those things when I walk the streets. And I'm a street person. I'm not the one that sits up in the house. I can deal with, leadership and so forth that's in the different countries, but I'm not that person. I'm the person, I like being on the street. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the streets and talking to people, learning the languages and all those type things. That's how I like that. I enjoy that. So in doing so, I didn't have any fear of someone trying to attack me, hurt me, or anything. Brotherhood, it was brotherly love and all of that wherever I went. Mm-hmm. I remember the day I had the week, not the day, the week I had to come back to America. I did not want to come. Let me tell you how. No, I'm not going to go there. I'm telling you, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to come. I didn't want to come back at all. And I will never forget the ringing thought in my head was, I got to worry about being murdered. Every day of your life in this land, every day, from the day we landed to the day, you always had to be worried about being murdered. In the beginning, it was the slave master. Mm-hmm. After that, it was the Ku Klux Klan. After that, it was our own people and the Ku Klux Klan and the Mexicans. And I mean, you have whatever you want to put to it. You have all of those reasons to leave. Mm-hmm. Then you have to worry about all the things that are going on in the country itself, the subterfuge going against you as a people, all of that. So the scripture says, flee ye out of the midst of Babylon. Flee ye out of her. Touch no unclean thing. Do not partake of her sins. You should be more afraid of staying in Babylon. After this 400 years has ended, mm-hmm. you should be more afraid of staying in Babylon than leaving Babylon. Because if you stay here, then you are going to receive the damnation that Babylon has been prophesied to receive. And that's the key. You don't want to do that. So fleeing ye out of the midst of Babylon is the commandment. Get out of her. And this is the first step to that, so we can have that true discussion. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about on that is when you're talking about fleeing out, we're coming together with a plan, working together. This is where we want to all come together and make this a reality. This is not just a one-sided conversation. Mm-hmm. We need the ideas and opinions of everyone. And so this is a powerful time, and it's a season for us to really, really win. We have moved from judgment to post-judgment. From judgment to post-judgment. It's very important to understand this. In other words, we move from captivity to freedom. But if you continue to have a mind of judgment, mm-hmm. you will never be free to be in post-judgment. And in this season, no matter what we put our hands towards, will be successful. As I stated before, not only are we that know that we are Israel are aware of this, mm-hmm. the world has recognized it, and many Israelites who are not aware at this season that they are Israelites are moving back or are trying to exodus out of this mm-hmm. country. That's how powerful this movement is. For the first time in history, all 55 African nations have come together as one under the AU. They've signed it, they've signed off on it, and it has taken place under the AU. This has never happened, not in 1,000 years, not in 3,000 years, not in 5,000 years. This has never happened in the history of the world. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard what is in store for us. Hear me. This is another season and another time.
Powerful, very powerful. What about those that can't afford to leave?
Outstanding. That's a very good question. There's two ways that we're going to look at that. The first thing is those that cannot afford to leave must find means to make that a reality. And why do I say that? Because most of them can afford to buy their children Nikes. Mm-hmm. Most of them can afford to buy a nice car. Mm-hmm. Many of them can afford to do whatever it is that their heart truly wants to do. Yes. Why? Because Yah said what? He gives you the desires of his heart, of your heart. So if your heart truly desires to return back into the land of Israel, then what will show up and appear for you is that which will make it a reality. Let me give you an example. When the children of Israel came out of Israel, correct? They asked the question, would Yah want us to die in the land of Israel? Mm-hmm. That was their idea. That was their thought. That was what they said. And so what happened? They died in the land of Israel. Mm-hmm. When Caleb and Joshua went to go view the land, the 99.9% of the men said what? No, they're going to kill us. We will die in this land. Stay here. We're not going to go up and take the land. Therefore, they didn't, because that's what appeared in their space. But Joshua and Caleb had what? A different spirit. Mm-hmm. Therefore, when they said, what did they say? They said, man, these people are bread for us. We can go take the land. That's why they were the only two what appeared for them. They landed in the land. So as you continue to have that negative thought, mm-hmm. I don't have the money, guess what's going to appear before your space? The desire of your heart. No money. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you change the conversation with yourself, I told you life is a conversation. As soon as you change the conversation with yourself, then the things that will appear before you to make it a reality for you to get home will be amazing. You will never know. A free ticket will show up for you. Somebody will see you in that vein and just give you the money to go. You don't know what's going to happen. Right. All you have to do is stay in the vein and truly want to go home. I promise you, it will show up for you. And that's the power. So the key thing is those that don't have the money, start working toward it. I'd say always the first step, find something you can do where you don't have to go into a job and you can work from anywhere. Mm-hmm. That's the first step. Why not do that? Get something where you're on the phone. Today you can have internet work, or you can even have a job where you don't have to go in. So if there's things debilitating you from going into a job or whatever, mm-hmm. they have everything on. Now you can work from home. Wow. So, or anywhere in the world. Now you can go visit Israel. Mm-hmm. You can visit Ghana. You can visit Kenya. You can visit anywhere in the world you want to go. And still be getting paid while you're doing that and multiplying your money times 3, times 5, and investing in different things all around the world. If you really just open your mind from judgment to post-judgment, anything you put your hands to today, it will be successful, period.
Okay. What about those who may not be able to get a passport?
Correct. Same idea. However, in this phase with the passport itself, those due to the fact of possibly child support or mm-hmm. other issues that might have come up, we are actually, one of the things that we're going to be talking about there is a plan for that, but we're actually formulating a plan for brothers and sisters to be able to come out of America into other countries where it's not necessary for them to have that passport, be able to do some things to possibly get them into the land from there. So we're in the planning stages of getting brothers and sisters at this time who are not able to move directly into the lands of Israel or into the Edenic lands due to passport issues, but be able to move into different areas outside of this country without a passport.
Sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to summarize everything that we've kind of spoken about? Anything you want to kind of put out there before we close?
I would like to do one thing before we close, if that's all right.
Sure.
I don't know if we have any questions or anything from the audience, but if we do, and Fee feels comfortable, we can. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
I do.
Absolutely. All right. Do we have any questions?
Well, actually, we don't have any questions from the audience. It's more praise. Right. But I do have a couple of questions. One, you already covered one.
And this is Elder Qanath?
Yes, this is Elder Qanath. In fact, I just come over.
Sure.
I will join the panel.
We're going to switch out here.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. I would like to thank my lovely wife, who's beautiful inside and outside spiritually. So I'd like to thank her for her interview. I have a couple of questions that's related to the topic. And I think it's very important that this come about. before I ask that, what is your office?
As far as in the kingdom of YAH?
Yes.
I am literally a brother of the kingdom of YAH, meaning meaning brother, within the kingdom of YAH. Okay. And this is what's so powerful. This is why, and this is what I mean when I say a servant is the greatest in the kingdom. Because the first thing you have to learn in the kingdom is to be a servant. Right. The things that these things that you see me doing, correct? In this season, is I am just one of the brothers in the Jerusalem Brotherhood. I'm not one of the Crown Brothers. I am not one of the Sareen. I am not one of the Nesakim. But the beautiful thing about the kingdom is you don't have to have that to do what it is that you want to do in the kingdom for the redemption of your people. Okay. So so all the brothers and sisters, that's why I'm saying, whether you're a brother or a sister, when you come in the kingdom, you can start moving and doing that which you want to do as long as it's in alignment with the image and likeness of YAH. And so, and you might have to move at maybe a slower pace. It might have to go through channels and this and that, which is a reality. But the point is, you can do whatever it is you want to do. You don't have to have that type of title. One, I am a man of valor, meaning I am one who helps the Crown Brothers on their mission as well. So, I'm just a brother, a proud brother of the Jerusalem Brotherhood out of Dimona, Israel. Hallelujah.
Okay, hallelujah. That's how we operate here at F.O.P.E. And actually, that's how we should operate all throughout Israel, right? A servant first to the Most High, and to love your brother and sister, and to build a community together under YAH. I heard you use this term before I get to the next question. You say on high. Can you explain that?
High.
Up high.
Up high. Up high. Correct. Because again, when we came out of Egypt, into the wilderness and moving towards the promised land, that was termed aliyah, meaning ascending to YAH. Okay. So, as we begin to ascension, and I'm going to come back to this point. I have made it before, but I'm going to repeat this. It's important. In the beginning, or in a beginning, as it truly states in Genesis, that when Adam ate from, as it says, or consumed, which is the true translation, consumed the knowledge of good and evil. Then what happened is, from then on, you saw what was called a descending, the world descending, moving in a descending state. Meaning you had less life, 120 years, which we saw in Psalms, then moved to 70 years. You understand what I'm saying? That was a descending. Right. Till we went into this captivity, we had descended into hell, Sheol. Right? So you have two different words in Hebrew. One stands for the physical grave. But the word hell is Sheol. That's not the physical grave. That's an idea. So we had descended all the way until we got into hell. This concept, these institutions, this idea is hell. Coming out of this, we're ascending back into heaven. Ascending back up high. Here. That's why I said it starts in the mind. And as we move from there, now what's going to happen is it's going to generate before us the reality of the ascended world. And so that's the ascension. So we're moving up high. So when we go up high, or to Israel, we call it going up high, or aliyah, ascending to YAH.
Aliyah. All praises, all praises.
And as a matter of fact, what's so powerful is that the Kifar is on Aliyah Street, and we didn't do that. They did. We landed on Kifar is on the main street to get to is on Aliyah. Or Aliyah. It would be Aliyah. Aliyah. Pronounced correctly. Aliyah.
All praises, all praises. And I only asked that because you kept saying it. I don't want to jump off the topic.
No problem.
So, last two questions. This kind of going back into what you spoke on earlier, and I guess this could be spoke about in the summit when you was talking about work. And I always believe in doing something tangible, you know, not just in the spirit or just with lips, but with something we can actually touch and feel. Absolutely. And when you touch and feel, you build. Absolutely. You understand? We build. So can you give us something tangible? Maybe you can speak on part of it that's going to happen in the summit as far as business opportunities that's in Israel, throughout Africa, and different countries that you're connected with.
Business opportunities?
Yes, business opportunities.
There are many business opportunities that we have available. And the key thing is, like I was saying before, you're talking about Israel and then also in the Edenic lands, correct? Yes, sir. So in Israel, we have many entities that a person could come and work in. So we have our nation store, we have the boutique where we make our own clothes and so forth, and showcase our clothing. We have the workout centers and things of that nature. We have Divine, like excuse me for my ignorance, but like exercise. So like a divine exercise, right? Concern, holy concern. That's what we call our divine exercise. Okay. So holy concern. We have where anything you really want to do, or if any business you want to start, you can start there in Israel once you up high and you're deemed to stay in the Kifa or anywhere in Israel. In Ghana, which is very important, we have what's called the Restoration Village.
You took it from me, but go ahead.
In Ghana, we have the Restoration Village, and this is important. Why? Because the Restoration Village is the kingdom idea. It is the vision for the future that His Excellency Ben-Ami had actually saw before the transition. And it's the Restoration Village. And what it is actually the Demona model. And once you get the Demona model, when you get there and see it, you'll understand where I'm coming from. But it's actually, in reality, it's the kingdom of YAH being stamped all throughout the world. And so the first one that we're building is in Ghana. It's powerful because we have to be a light to the world. Right. So where does it start? The idea. They said they will come up to Zion to what? Learn the ways of YAH. Why? So when they go back into their lands, they can then what? Implement the ways of YAH on the planet. And so the Restoration Village represents that. And so many that come back can work in the Restoration Village and start businesses and opportunities around the agriculture. Right now, all through the world, really, agriculture right now is jumping up to being the number one. But Africa is in about 20 years, I would say, to 50 years, going to be the number one economy in the world. I'm not the only one saying it. I'm talking about all types of analysts and so forth are saying that as well. And so Africa's going to be the number one economy in the world. Yes, sir. And so you can get in right now. Right now is the time. As I talked about the AU before, the African Union, all 55 countries came together for the first time. The second thing is they have now one passport that's going to be to the land, so you can go from country to country with no problem. The third thing is that the country actually is they have the CFTA just passed. So that's the Continental Free Trade Agreement, which allows individuals to go back, to trade freely back and forth through the continent without having to pay tariffs and so forth. So what you're about to see is the United States of Africa coming together for the first time ever in the history of the world. Now, and you have to understand, Northeast Africa, which is Israel, represents the head seat of Africa. Right. You understand? Right. And so with Ambassador Adakana going around and speaking to brothers and sisters, she's telling, her message is, we can no longer allow the Euro-Gentile to determine what our borders are. That's an idea. Right. Because Israel is on the African tectonic plate. Therefore, now we can move from that can be included in Africa, and in our vision, which is Africa including Israel, now that's a reality. That's becoming a reality. And so, as the brothers and sisters wake up in the land, in the continent, we're working with them and we're growing. We've been in Ghana for 40 years now. So we've been in Kenya, we've been in South Africa and different areas. Now, from there, we have a factory in Ghana. But right now, Ghana is wide open. Ben-Ami stated, he said, Ghana is the gateway to Africa.
Right.
It's the gateway. Back in. Why? Because that's why they were the first to do the 400-year return. Now all the other countries in Africa are trying to copy them.
Right.
They are one of the most stable countries in the world. I mean in the world, but in Africa.
Right.
Very stable. The Ashanti are Israelites.
Right.
The Fanti are also Ashanti. That means that whole area is filled with Israelites.
Very important to know.
But the Ashanti are wealthy Israelites as well, who we work with as well and afford for opportunity as well. So you got investment opportunity as well as you have other business opportunities that are available there. It's powerful. But if we talk about everything that we have to do, this is why the Restoration Village is so important, because everything we have to do has to be in the image and likeness of YAH. At this season, we have the ability to shape Africa in the image and likeness of YAH, or for the next 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years. Right. And so to do that, like I said, we first got to come together as one. We got to build the restoration villages to implement this system throughout Africa. And if we work together as a unit to make that a reality, then all the investment opportunities and everything we need to sustain life, be here, and keep everything in the image and likeness of YAH, it will be there. So for instance, if we take the image and likeness of YAH, for instance, and let's just take the automobile. The automobile, as we know, destroys the ozone layer. Right. But we can create an automobile that doesn't.
Exactly. Because
that's who we are.
Exactly.
Now we can turn those things over into things that would be positive for the community versus negative for the community, right, or for the whole. Right. That's the point. That's what we have to get. And once we understand that, the Restoration Village is about all those ideas, the business ideas, all of them, making sure that they are in the image and likeness of YAH, and then promoting that throughout the world. Right. And that's what Demona has been the archetype for the last 50 years.
Exactly.
So we're considered in Israel the island of sanity. We are considered in Israel in America, the island of sanity in America, and we're considered the village of peace as well. Right. So and then now veganism, which is a healthy lifestyle, veganism has now in Israel they're trying to tout themselves as the #1 vegan community, country in the world. Right. But they learned that through us. Now we don't boast that, right, but the point is we're affecting change. So what does that do? What does veganism do? It removes, those emissions. It removes a lot of the problems. Right. And so that's just one thing, but as righteousness grows, as we ascend, the world will begin to follow that system, and now you're going to have a stronger effect throughout the world. Right. So there will no longer be polluting of the seas, the oceans, the lakes. There will be no longer the polluting of air. There will all that will be gone. Right. And so we will create a world in the image and likeness of YAH.
Oh, that was you take out a lot of questions with your with your answers. You take out a lot of questions. So I'm gonna wrap this up, but I think it's very important. When we read the Torah, it's not a guideline. It's our constitution on how we're supposed to live. Okay. How we're supposed to walk. And the scriptures talks about how we supposed to be leaders, right? So the Most High put this on us as a people, and we're supposed to lead and walk in it, not just talk in it, but walk in it. So last question, and I try to anybody I interview, I don't sneak questions on it, but I stay on the subject, but try to hit you in the gut a little bit, right? So I'm gonna give you a right hook real quick.
Please do.
All right, so here go a right hook. When we talk about the nations, we say gather ourselves together. We look at Psalms 83 about all other nations being against us and so on and so forth. Okay. And everything that we're doing is building. And you mentioned the word UN.
No, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
If I said UN, I meant the United Nations. I meant AU.
AU.
Yeah, AU.
Okay. So let's look at it on this level then. How do we put ourselves, or do we take ourselves out of, or we put ourselves in and being recognized by the world, or is it important to be recognized by the world because we know the Most High recognize us? So how do we put ourselves in to have a say, or do we leave it all to the Most High?
Repeat that one more time. I want to make
Gotcha.
sure I got your question.
Right. That's
so
why I said I'll give you the right hook. Okay.
I can answer
So,
it correctly. It's okay. Go
all
ahead.
right.
It's
So
all
again,
good.
UNAU.
Mm-hmm.
Right. AU. Explain.
The AU is the African Union.
African
It
Union.
is. It was actually started in Ghana by Nkrumah.
Okay.
So and it was called the OAU.
Okay.
And then it became the AU. And this is the Africa unifying, the African Union. Well, for the first time in history, as I stated, all 55 countries have decided to come on, and now they're saying that they've all become a part of the AU, and 37 of the countries stated that they're going to follow the governance arm of the AU.
Right. Okay.
Which will standardize Africa.
Right. Right. So, like I said, and I could have been mistaken and misinterpreted when you said AU, and I said UN.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, again, the question is, and it's a loaded question.
Go ahead.
It's a loaded question. So, what's the importance of having us being recognized, right, by other governments, like inside the AU or outside of the UN?
Correct.
You know, and do they see us as a people, as a nation, or should we care if they see us there?
See, this is. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna answer that question as well, but two ways.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I want to say is that we must become the light to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yah said in Isaiah, he said, "It is a light thing that I have raised you up to restore the tribes of Israel." That's the easy part.
Right.
It's a light thing. That's the light part. This is the easy part. What we're doing now is the easy part. He said, "But I have also made you as a light to the Gentiles or the nations."
Right.
Correct?
Right.
So when we have to affect change throughout the world, we would go, first of all, to the leaders who could affect the most people.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, our health program, the Regen program, actually was instituted by Courage Kwashiga in Ghana.
Okay.
Due to that happening, and when you understand who he was in Ghana, all the leadership, I don't care what party they're in, they respect him.
Mm-hmm.
If you mention his name, they respect him. Therefore, just talking to people, we found they had implemented the entire Regen program throughout Ghana. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So this increased health and all those type things in their country. But they want us to continue those type of projects. But now with the diaspora coming back, we will have the human resource to be able to make that a reality.
Right.
These are the type of relationships that we've created where we can walk into countries. And I mean, you will be amazed at how they respond to the kingdom because of how we've been able to work on that level of influence. But whether it's a president or a mayor or one of the tribal chiefs, because in Africa, the chiefs are the power. Right. So no matter who we're talking to, it's not about us. We got to remove this. So when you say, should we care how they? No, that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is we have to remove the ego and make it about the result, not about us. That's what I said. I'm a clearing, and that's how we have to maintain ourselves as a clearing. Share the information. Some will, some won't. So what?
Right. With that, I'm gonna thank you. But I asked that question because perfect answer. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but I watch a lot of programs dealing with the governments of different countries in Africa, and I sit like they have the Congress or whatever talking, or Parliament, and they actually mention Israel, right? In Demona, talking about their health programs that they want to implement it in South Africa.
Absolutely.
Right? And I heard different countries talking about it, as in AU. I heard them speaking on this. So change is happening, it's being made, and we are being recognized all through the power of the Most High. So again, brother, thanks a lot for coming visiting us, man. We can't wait to come to Israel. come see the brothers and sisters over there. So with that, my name is Qanath Yahawashi, F.O.P.E. We out here to edify, and come together as a people.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Y'all high, y'all blessed. Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah, shalom.
Just press finish on the bottom right. Just press finish on the bottom right. There you go.